There is a nerve running through your body right now that most people have never heard of, and it may be the single most important biological structure for your mental health, your emotional regulation, your immune function, your digestion, your heart rate, and your capacity to feel genuinely calm in a world that is constantly trying to activate your stress response. It is the vagus nerve. And the reason you have never heard of it is not because it is obscure or irrelevant. It is because the conversation about wellness has been focused almost entirely on the brain, on thoughts, beliefs, mindset, and cognitive strategies, while this extraordinary nerve has been quietly governing the biological foundation of everything that brain-based approaches are trying to achieve. In this video, you are going to understand exactly what the vagus nerve is, why its function determines the quality of your emotional life more than almost any other biological variable, and the specific evidence-based practices that train it, shifting your nervous system from the chronic stress state that modern life produces toward the regulated, connected, genuinely calm state that your body and your life actually require. The vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the human body. It originates in the brainstem and travels downward through the neck, the chest, and the abdomen, sending branches to the heart, the lungs, the liver, the spleen, the kidneys, the stomach, the intestines, and virtually every organ between the brain and the gut. Its name comes from the Latin word for wandering, and it earns that name by touching more of your body than any other nerve in your system. But the most important thing to understand about the vagus nerve is not its anatomy, it is its function. The vagus nerve is the primary component of the parasympathetic nervous system, the biological brake that counterbalances the sympathetic fight or flight system that stress and threat activate. When the vagus nerve is functioning well, when what researchers call vagal tone is high, your nervous system can shift efficiently between activation and rest, between engagement and recovery, between the stress response and the calm state. When vagal tone is low, as it is in most people living under chronic stress, poor sleep, social isolation, and the relentless demands of modern life, the nervous system gets stuck in the sympathetic activation state. The cortisol stays elevated, and the body cannot access the parasympathetic rest and digest mode that genuine recovery requires. Here is what makes vagal tone one of the most important health metrics that most people have never measured. Research consistently shows that high vagal tone, measured through a variable called heart rate variability, the natural fluctuation in time between heartbeats that reflects the vagus nerve's regulatory influence on the heart, is associated with better emotional regulation, greater resilience under stress, stronger immune function, lower systemic inflammation, better gut health, more positive social engagement, and lower rates of anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress. Low vagal tone, conversely, is associated with chronic stress, emotional dysregulation, inflammation, digestive dysfunction, social withdrawal, and increased vulnerability to mental health conditions. The vagus nerve is not just a nerve, it is the biological infrastructure of resilience. And vagal tone is not fixed, it is trainable. It responds to specific inputs, as breathing patterns, movement, social connection, sound, cold exposure, and contemplative practice in ways that are measurable, reproducible, and often rapid enough to produce noticeable effects within a single session. The gut-brain axis, which we explored in detail in our video on the microbiome and the gut-brain connection, runs primarily through the vagus nerve. And here is the detail that most discussions of the gut-brain axis omit. Approximately 80% of the information traveling through the vagus nerve moves upward, from the gut to the brain, not downward. This means that the state of your gut, your microbiome, and your digestive system is continuously sending information to your brain through the vagus nerve. Information that influences your mood, your anxiety level, your stress response, and your cognitive function. When the vagus nerve is functioning well and vagal tone is high, this bidirectional communication is efficient and well regulated. When vagal tone is low, the communication becomes dysregulated, and the gut, signals that reach the brain, are more likely to produce anxiety, mood instability, and the diffuse sense of unease that many people experience without being able to identify its source. Healing the gut and training the vagus nerve are not separate projects. They are two dimensions of the same biological restoration. The most accessible and most extensively researched vagal tone training practice is slow diaphragmatic breathing, specifically the extended exhale breathing pattern that directly activates the parasympathetic system through the vagus nerve. When you breathe slowly, approximately 5 to 6 breath cycles per minute, with an exhale that is longer than the inhale, you activate the baroreceptors in the aorta and the carotid arteries that send vagal signals to the heart, slowing it down and increasing heart rate variability. This is not a relaxation technique in the conventional sense. It is a direct physiological intervention in the autonomic nervous system, one that produces measurable increases in vagal tone with as little as 5 minutes of consistent practice. The physiological sigh, the double inhale through the nose, followed by a long extended exhale through the mouth, is the fastest single breathing intervention for parasympathetic activation that research has identified. And the coherent breathing pattern, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, practiced for 10 to 20 minutes produces increases in heart rate variability that persist beyond the practice session and accumulate with regular use over weeks and months. Cold exposure is the second major vagal tone training input and one of the most potent. When cold water contacts the face and neck, the areas where vagal nerve endings are most densely concentrated, it activates what is called the diving reflex, a rapid parasympathetic response that drops heart rate, reduces cortisol, and shifts the autonomic balance toward vagal dominance. Cold water immersion, from full cold plunges to ending your shower with 60 seconds of cold water, produces measurable increases in heart rate variability and reported improvements in mood, stress resilience, and emotional regulation. The mechanism is direct vagal stimulation through the cold receptors in the skin of the face and neck, and the effect is rapid enough to be felt within seconds of cold water contact. This is not a wellness trend. It is a specific, mechanistically understood vagal training stimulus with a growing body of research supporting its effects on autonomic nervous system function. The third vagal training input is social engagement, and this one reveals something extraordinary about the biology of human connection. The vagus nerve innervates the muscles of the face, the larynx, and the middle ear through what it's called a social engagement system. The muscles that produce facial expression, the vocal cords that modulate the prosody and warmth of the voice, and the tiny muscles of the middle ear that tune hearing toward the frequency range of human speech, all are regulated by the vagus nerve. This means that genuine human social connection, face-to-face, emotionally present, authentic engagement with another person, is not just psychologically nourishing, it is a direct vagal training stimulus. The co-regulation that happens between nervous systems in genuine human connection, the way being with a calm, regulated person helps your own nervous system find its calm, operates through the vagus nerve. And conversely, chronic social isolation, as we explored in our video on the loneliness epidemic, degrades vagal tone in ways that compound with every other stressor in a person's life. The fourth vagal training input is humming, chanting, and singing, practices that seem simple but have specific and well understood effects on vagal tone. The vagus nerve innervates the muscles of the larynx, meaning that vocal activity, particularly the sustained resonant vibration of humming or chanting, directly stimulates vagal nerve endings and produces parasympathetic activation. Research on humming shows measurable increases in heart rate variability and reductions in cortisol within minutes of practice. Chanting, whether in a religious or secular context, produces similar effects, and the group synchrony of communal singing adds the social engagement component that amplifies the vagal training benefit. Even gargling with water, which activates the same laryngeal muscles innervated by the vagus, has been shown to produce mild vagal activation. These are not mystical practices. They are specific mechanical stimulations of a specific nerve through its innervation of specific muscles, and understanding them as such makes them accessible to anyone regardless of their relationship to spiritual or religious tradition. If you made it to the end of this video, take one thing with you today. Your nervous system has a brake. It is the vagus nerve. And like any other biological capacity, its function responds to how you use it. To the breathing patterns you practice, the cold you expose yourself to, the genuine human connections you invest in, and the vocal practices you engage with. Start today with 5 minutes of slow breathing, 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. That single practice applied consistently begins to train the most important regulatory nerve in your body. And everything we have been building in this series, the focus, the sleep, the stress regulation, the anti-inflammatory life, the presence, the meaning, becomes more accessible when the vagal foundation is strong. Share this video with someone whose nervous system seems stuck in activation, because sometimes the most healing thing you can offer someone is the knowledge that the brake exists and that they can learn to use it. Subscribe to continue this journey, because the next video is going to bring everything in this series together in the most personal and most practical way possible. How to build a life that actually feels like yours. Not the life that was assigned to you, not the life that looks impressive from the outside, but the life that fits the person you genuinely are and the values you genuinely hold. See you there.